Welcome to our channel Civil Services Times. I'm Vishi Sengraj, Executive Editor of CST magazine. In our previous video, we discussed about post-Maurya, Gupta and post-Gupta period with special emphasis on Indian feudalism. Today, we will be outlining two major cultural eras in Indian history, that is Sangam Age and Bhakti movement. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon for updates. For prelims examination, Civil Services Times have designed test series in set of 10 booklets which is available on our website www.civilservicestimes.com, and also Civil Services Times is relaunching its online interactive 1-to-1 mains test series in November 2020 by CST's Chief Editor Mr. Vivek Raj, who is pioneer of the mains test series since 1998 with over 500 selections in the past. Please visit our website civilservicestimes.com and for contact details. This video is made taking reference from Civil Services Times Indian History book. You will get detailed facts for prelims as well as in-depth analysis for mains from this book. You can purchase this book from amazon.in or directly from us through our website, civilservicestimes.com. The link is given below in the description box. Now coming to our topic, the Sangam Age. The Sangam Age was a period of history of ancient Tamil Nadu and Kerala and parts of Sri Lanka, then known as Tamilakam, spanning from 6th century BCE to 3rd century CE. It was named after the famous Sangam academies of poets and scholars centered in the city of Madurai. The area lying to the south of River Krishna and Tungabhadra is South India. During Sangam Age, it was ruled by three dynasties, the Cheras, the Cholas and the Pandyas. The main source of information about these kingdoms is traced from the literary reference of Sangam period. Now emphasizing on each kingdom, that is the first kingdom, the Cheras. The Cheras had their ruler over major parts of modern Kerala or Malabar area. The Chera country was geographically well placed to profit from maritime trade via extensive Indian Ocean network, exchange of spices, especially black pepper, with Middle East and Greco-Roman merchants are attested in several sources. Second kingdom is Cholas. The Chola kingdom in the Sangam period extended from northern Tamil Nadu to southern Andhra Pradesh. Initially, the capital of Cholas were Urayur. Later, it was shifted to Puhar. King Karikala was a prominent king of the Sangam Chola dynasty. The third are the Pandyas. The Pandya ruled over the present day South Tamil Nadu. The Pandyas were first mentioned by Megasthenes, who says that their kingdom was celebrated for pearls. He also speaks of being ruled by women, which may suggest some matriarchal influence in the Pandya society. The Sangam Age in South India is a landmark history. The word Sangam is the Tamil form of Sanskrit word Sang, which means a group of person or an association. The Tamil Sangam was an academy of poets and bards who flourished in three different periods and in different places under patronage of Pandya kings. The earliest script that Tamil used were Brahmi script. It was only from the later ancient and early medieval period that they started evolving a new angular script called the Granth script, from which the modern Tamil is derived. The first Sangam is believed to be held in Madurai, which was attended by gods and legendary sages. No literary work of this Sangam is available. The second Sangam was held at Kabadapuram. Only Tolka Pirayam survives from this. the third Sangam at Madurai was founded by Mudda Thirumaran. A few of these Tamil literary works have survived and are a useful source to reconstruct the history of Sangam period. During Sangam period, hereditary monarchy was the form of government. Each of the dynasty of Sangam age had a royal emblem, like tiger for Cholas, carps for Pandyas, boars for Cheras. The king was assisted by wide bodies of officials who were categorized in 5 councils. There were minister, priest, envoys, military commanders and spies. The king was the very center and embodiment of administration. Through hereditary monarchs were the prevailing form of government, disputed successors and civil war were also seen. The court of the crowded monarch were called Avai. The ideal of the conquering king was accepted and acted on. King's birthday was celebrated every year. Kings assumed several titles. There was a culture of standing army as well. Out of tax collected from the peasants, the state maintained a rudimentary army, and it consisted of chariots drawn by oxen, the elephants, cavalry and infantry. Elephants played an important part in war. Horses were imported by sea into Pandya kingdom. The Sangam economy was simple and mostly self-sufficient. Agriculture was the main occupation, and the chief crops were rice, cotton, ragi, sugarcane, pepper, ginger, turmeric, cardamom, cinnamon, etc. Weaving, shipbuilding were also known. Amongst the crop, rice was most common. The marketplace was called Avanam. Trade, both inland and foreign as well, were well organized and briskly carried out throughout the period. Internal trade was brisk. Caravans of merchants with carts and pack animals carried their merchandise from places to places. Barter played a large part in all transactions, and salt was an important commodity of trade. Society in the southern kingdom chiefly consisted of agriculture or those who depended directly on the land. Beside the peasants, there were landless laborers, carpenters, goldsmiths, hunters and fishermen. In the ancient time, they followed neither the Varna system nor the ashram system. Broadly speaking, there were chiefly 2 classes of people in the early Tamil society. One, those who tilled the land themselves, and the other who got it tilled for others. Who got it tilled for themselves by others. For further details of the texts of Sangam age, such as venues of first, second and third Sangam, literary texts like Mani Mekalai, Paripatal, Salya Padikaram, details on economic, society, administration and other factual details, please refer to Indian Civil Services Times Indian History book. I am again emphasizing on the fact that this is just an outline of the book, and you have to read the topic in depth from the book in order to have a broader idea of the topic, both factual and conceptual. Now, coming to another topic, Bhakti. 2 questions have come from Bhakti in year 2014. Now, Bhakti movement is a form of theistic devotional movement emphasizing on the mutual, intense emotional attachment and love of a devotee towards a personal God. The movement started with Shaivas, Nayanars and Vaishnavas, Alvars, who lived between 5th to 9th century AD. Their efforts ultimately helped spread Bhakti poetry and ideas throughout India by 12th and 18th century. Bhakti means devotion to a particular deity. During the post-Vedic era, some deities like Shiva, Vishnu, Durga became popular amongst the devotees. This inclination towards deity came to be known as Bhakti movement. Bhakti movement preached using the local language so that the messages reached the masses. The movement was inspired by many poet saints who championed a wide range of philosophical positions, ranging from theistic dualism of Dvaitya to absolute monism of Advaita Vedanta. According to an ancient Indian texts dated from 1st millennium BCE, such as the Kat Upanishad and Bhagavad-Gita, there is a specific mention of bhakti. The main principle of bhakti movement were 1. God is one. 2. To worship God, man should serve humanity. 3. All men are equal. 4. Worshipping God with devotion is better than performing religious ceremonies and going to pilgrims. And 5th, caste distinction and superstitious practices are to be given up. The most important social impact of Bhakti movement was that the followers of Bhakti movement rejected the caste distinction. They began to mix together on the basis of equality. For example, they started having or taking meals together from the same common kitchen. The movement tried to loosen the bonds of caste. After the rise of heterodox sects, mainly Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivaks, the dominance of Vedic Brahmanism heavily came down. But after the decline of Mauryan Empire, India once again witnessed the rise of number of states till the emergence of Gupta Empire. The royal patronage to heterodox sects gradually waned out, and in the meantime, economic activities also started to get relatively localized. The level of material culture also denigrated. Once again, the existing equations between the material and non-material aspects of life changed, and this subsequently affected the religious and philosophical pattern. The concept of salvation and role of religion in the lives of common people also needed to be redefined. The Brahmanism being flexible enough to introduce huge changes in their worship pattern and replace the cumbersome religious ritual practices by a methodified, simple, ritualistic pattern. The serving of God through devotion became prime modus operandi of coming close to God and having the blessings. Even path saving, feet serving, and accepting the prasad were enough to get the blessing of God. This massive transformation in the approach of worshipping pattern created schism even in heterodox sects. Now, the modified Vedic religion provided a more feasible solution for common man than even those heterodox sects. This was the reason why Buddhism, Mahayana, introduced the concept of idol worshipping in the form of bodhisattva, and even the concept of swarg or heaven. They also started to believe in reincarnation. And this all happened because of coming up of Vaishnavism and Shaivism, which believed Lord is supreme person with personal qualities, that is shagun rather than abstract absolute. Lord is cause of cosmic. He created, maintains it, and destroys it. And the Lord manifests himself through sacred scriptures, temple icons, and avatars or reincarnation. The earliest and the best exposition of the doctrine of Bhagavad sect was found by Vasudeva Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita, which has been incorporated in Mahabharata probably in 2nd century BC. It is a combination of religion, philosophy and ethics. It talks about Gyan and Bhakti for Karma Yogi. Gyan is a means of self-realization which is dominated by the attitude of enlightenment which sees all being in oneself and oneself in all beings.